Hi guys. Um, Tesla shot up from $250 to $300, and just in overnight trading of aftermarket trading when the financial report was released. I think this is a good example where you really have to be careful when you're a bull. Don't try to trade, and because like usually on these earning reports Tesla would drop, but now it jumps. But like, how many times did it drop before on an earnings report? 10 times? Like, it becomes a very strong pattern, but you try to trade it, you can be left out. I think that's very dangerous. um, the other way around, when you're shorting crypto, for example, you don't try to long it on a bounce. Don't I think trying to play bounces that go the other direction of your belief is dangerous. I would never do that, especially not with something like crypto or Tesla that is, well, can explode to the upside at any time, because it is seriously undervalued, both of them, today. So, but the video for today is about Bitcoin Cash, and someone asked, "Hey, I have a friend who is a Bitcoin fundamentalist," he called him, but I think he means a Bitcoin maximalist, as we call them in the crypto world, and he hates Bitcoin Cash, and for two reasons. One reason I would like to ask you about, and that is, he believes that by raising the block size as Bitcoin Cash did, it becomes less secure. And then he's asked, like, how is it possible that two intelligent people can be so different in opinion? Well, you know, my opinion is that this person is not intelligent, because for me it's so obvious that, for example, claiming that raising the block size makes it less secure is not true. Like, and it's simple logic. The consequence of raising the block size is that the blockchain will have more data going into it and will grow quicker. And the argument is why it lowers security is that means that it's harder to run the blockchain on your own, because you need more data, you need a bigger data drive, but especially more bandwidth, so it becomes more expensive to run a server or to run a node, and therefore it becomes more centralized. Less people can run a node, and therefore less nodes are being ran, and therefore it's less secure. But what's for me very clear is that you always, like, less secure. Yes, if you don't think any further, you could say yes, that's correct. The less nodes will be run, and so it's less secure. But of course, the security depends on much more than the amount of nodes that are run per user. For example, the security is against government clamp down and government attack. That's the fear, that the government will outlaw it and will illegalize it and will prosecute anybody who runs a node who is supporting the Bitcoin network by keeping a blockchain and sharing it, and also helping with validation of transactions. And but for example, what's another way to avoid political clampdown is popularity. The more popular something is among voters, the less likely it is that it will be outlawed by politicians, right? Because politicians come into power via votes, so they do something unpopular, it can cost them their head. So they usually do things that are popular with the majority. And so from that standpoint, it's important that Bitcoin becomes popular. That's its best protection. That people love it, that love to use it, and that use it. And so if you look at that, it is important that it is usable, that it is easy to use and cheap to use. Only then it will become popular with the masses. And so, for example, raising the transaction fee to $1 or $10 and making it a variable that you don't know in advance how much it will be. It depends on the busyness of the network. Makes it much less attractive to use as a currency. And so, for example, by limiting the block size, the way Bitcoin Core has decided to do to 1 megabyte, there is a shortage of bandwidth, and so there is a competition to get into it, and so you have to pay a high transaction fee to get into it. And so yes, you will have more nodes per user, but your amount of users will grow much less, and so the chances that you become popular go down a lot with the majority of the people. And therefore, yes, you have more security from a node count perspective, but from a political perspective, and your security goes up from a technical perspective there, but from a strategic perspective, your security is going down a lot. My little sunshine is playing here in the garden. She's a little sick. She has a high fever and has had convulsions. So quite scary. It's like a seizure, but yeah, it's serious. So I hope everything will go well with her. So as always, when you run a company or a currency, there is always trade-offs to be made, and it's always about making the right trade-off. That's how you win. That's how you succeed, and it's a very difficult thing to do because most people make big mistakes and make the wrong trade-offs. And this is a great example where this is a bad trade-off. Yes, okay, you keep the node count high compared to the amount of users, but the transaction fees explode and become much more expensive than before, and therefore, since it's a free market here, they have many other cryptos competing. Therefore, Bitcoin Core will not succeed in becoming popular because of the high transaction fees. And network effects will not overcome that. And this is also like something that you will notice with any successful entrepreneur, is that they really try to create high value for their clients. They really try to offer something of undisputable high value compared to the competition. And it's a very tough fight. You need to work very hard and constantly make the right decision to be able to stand out, because the competition is other people with brains. And they will also try to have the best offering. So, but clearly Bitcoin Core is not succeeding here by having the best offering, and therefore it will fail because it makes the wrong trade-offs. For example, raising the block size to 2 megabytes and 3 megabytes slowly, as demand of the block size increases, and of course continually trying to optimize and lower the amount of bandwidth needed per transaction, is the right process, of course, to follow, because how much bigger does the blockchain becomes by doubling the block size? Well, it becomes double as big, it grows double as big, as quick, but that is not a problem. Like the prices to run a server go down over time as storage and bandwidth goes down in price over time. So even if you double up, say, every 4 years in bandwidth requirements, that doesn't mean the price goes up to run that. And even if you let it grow so fast that it becomes more expensive to run a node, well, you don't need the same amount of percentage of nodes compared to users as you grow bigger. Like in the beginning, the network is much more vulnerable against government attack. When Bitcoin started in 2009, during the financial crisis, there was a very high chance for government clampdown. It was very important that everybody could run their own node on their own laptop, and that was the case. But as it becomes more and more popular, you have much less legal uncertainties as government agencies make their statements about what they think and about cryptocurrencies, and actually, as the longer they don't clamp down on it, the more likely it is, the less likely it is to happen. And this is what has happened over the past almost 10 years. There was no clamp down in the West against cryptocurrency. It's okay. Like say you had 100% of people running nodes. It's okay to see that go down to, as the network goes on bigger and bigger, 10 folds every time, to go down to 10% and then to 1%. That's okay, because the 1% today is many, many more nodes than the 100% it was in 2009 or 2010. And the 1% is also much more diversified over the world. As in the beginning, it was just probably some Europeans or some Americans and some Europeans that run Bitcoin, but today it's all over the world. So this 1% is also more diversified. So that's just the argument about node count. Like so it just makes no sense to me, the decisions that they made. It does make a lot of sense, but from a completely different perspective. I think I can leave it at that. It's just a short video. I think right now, if you still believe Bitcoin Core is the future and Bitcoin Cash or other cryptocurrencies have a very small chance to succeed, I strongly suggest to study it more and be critical towards the points that you believe in, because now is the time to do that. Now is the time that Bitcoin Core has a 70% or 65% market dominance. So, if you have these beliefs, probably you have a majority allocated to Bitcoin Core. I think this is a very, very, very big mistake that will cost you dearly in not losing money, but in missing an amazing opportunity that crypto offers, because very likely Bitcoin Core will not enjoy, will only go up a little bit compared to the other cryptos in the next boom, in the boom that we have started. Yes, now Bitcoin Core went up the most, but by the end of the bull run, Bitcoin Core will go up the least of all cryptos, and it will. There is a chance that we reach a tipping point where other cryptos. There's a good chance that other cryptos could become bigger, such as Ethereum and possibly even Bitcoin Cash towards the end of the boom that I estimate to be somewhere at 2023 peaking out. And so you will sit on sour grapes, because it's all good if you invest in the one that stays the biggest, as all Bitcoin Core investors have been able to say up until today. Like, yeah, okay, it didn't go up the most, but it's still the biggest, it's still dominating. And that changes fundamentally when it's not the biggest anymore, and when something else has stopped it. Because not only did you totally miss out on the percentage gains that you could have had, but actually right now, but you are in a position where it's possible that due to the breakdown of the network effect that it had to its advantage before, but that it lost by simply being the biggest one, you have a lot of network advantages. But once you lose the first position, that all goes away and flips to the one that becomes first. You can have a vicious cycle downwards, where not only you made the least amount of money, but suddenly you're at risk to lose your money, because network effects that you have typically in social networks, but also in cryptocurrencies and in so many in many industries. Um, um, they tend to go to a market dynamic where the winner takes all. The winner takes 50% of the market, 60, the second 20, 30, the third 10 or less than 10, and then you have a lot of very small players that nobody knows. So there is a very good chance, actually, I think it's very likely that that's where Bitcoin Core will end as a failure. And a total failure. Like you will end up losing your money, but that's not for 2023. By then you will make money, but for the next bear market after that, I think there is a good chance that Bitcoin will totally implode. So it's right now that you really need to do that research and look at the arguments that the Bitcoin maximalists are giving in favor of their thesis, and look at it critically, because now you can still be paid tremendously to realize that, but that opportunity will go away over the next few years. And the opportunity is now the highest to do so if you still have Bitcoin Core. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.